it's me, Shakti, and just wanted to share a little live stream with you about the gifts of the goddess Dhumavati. Now, Dhumavati is one of the 10 Mahavidyas, one of the 10 great goddess aspects from the Tantra yoga tradition, and I included Dhumavati in my yoga class this morning. So I've just completed a beautiful yoga class online on Zoom where we focused on the root chakra, which is just a perfect chakra to focus upon at this time because it's all about survival, security, the earth, our body, our bones, all of this stuff. And we also brought in a little meditation on the goddess Dhumavati. Dhumavati is commonly known as the widow or the crone goddess, and she is depicted as really ugly. So whereas most goddesses are beautiful and luscious and sensual and voluptuous, young, and often they have a divine masculine consort, Dhumavati is the hag. Now here's one picture. This is from Sally Kempton's book, Awakening Shakti. Here's one image of the goddess Dhumavati. So she's a widow, she's a crone, she's a hag. I mean, actually, she looks pretty attractive in this one. That's quite a complimentary portrayal, I would say. Here's another picture of Dhumavati, and this is from Dinsmore-tuli's amazing book, Yoni Shakti, highly recommend. Here's another depiction of the goddess Dhumavati. Yes, so imagine this bony, ugly, warty, disgusting, shriveled, feminine, right? And I have just sort of, it came to my awareness today that this goddess, this aspect of the goddess has got the perfect gift for us right now at this time, because she represents everything that we fear. She represents failure, she represents death, she represents disease, she represents the end of life, she represents disappointment, failure, when things don't go the way that we want them to go. All of these things she represents. In Indian society, you know, classically the widow or the crone was ostracized from society. She was put out and cast aside. So imagine, for example, you could see a modern age Dhumavati depicted in a homeless woman, right? Or someone who's got dementia, or like my mum has, or someone who's ill and close to the end of life, and they can represent all those things that we don't want to confront in ourselves, that we're afraid of, and also the huge disappointment that might come about when we lose a loved one, when we don't get the job that we want, when the person that we're deeply in love with leaves us. So it's kind of representing not getting what we want and being confronted with our mortality. But she brings some amazing gifts. And what I'm going to just share with you right now is not really my own wisdom. I'm going to quote from the book Awakening Shakti by Sally Kempton, and also from Dinsmore-tuli's book Yoni Shakti. I do work with these beautiful teachers, I work with these wisdoms, I work with these goddesses in my Awakening Shakti and my Dancing the Goddess practice, but I'm going to quote right now from these books because the wisdom here is just really great, and I think it offers us all something that is of value at these times. So thinking about the gift of detachment, emptiness and freedom. So we are faced with, and she faces us with, aspects of despair, sadness, failure, age and sickness, the most difficult moments in life. She is seen as, therefore, she's depicted as ugly because it's those things in life that we don't want to recognize, that we don't want to face. So for men and women, this can be like seeing our bodies age and feeling afraid of that, or not wanting to acknowledge that, for example. And then look how we sort of push ugliness or age out of society, and we fixate on people, women especially, having to be young and beautiful, right? So she has the power to teach us that beauty fades, but our divine self always remains intact. Yes, so when we are unexpectedly ill, when maybe we lose the capacity of an aspect of our body, it's frightening and we're confronted with our mortality. But that confrontation can be a gift in pushing us in a way to recognize what we are deeper than the surface, what we are beyond this, that there's an essence, a divine essence, a cosmic essence that is always there and is something much greater, larger and more profound than our health even, actually. So, and this is a recognition that we can be forced to through difficulty, through challenge, through failure, through loss, through illness, or it's something we can connect with at any time in deep meditation. So the trick with her, and I'm reading from the book now, from Awakening Shakti, is to find her enlightened core, the transformative power within hopelessness and within failure. And this requires inhabiting your worst fears and facing into your losses. So we are confronted with that which we feel fearful about, that which we feel aversion to, that which terrifies us, literally a plague, losing our health, right? So when safety nets break down, and the questions she poses to us are, can your inner equilibrium survive this level of collapse? Can you find your yogic groove when everything else falls away? So, these are very, very big questions, which also can move us to empathy for others. So, for example, so often in this society, people judge those on benefits. People judge homeless people, right? I've got a great fear of becoming a homeless person myself. I've had that fear since I got divorced and suddenly was forced in a situation where I lost all my money, I lost my home, I lost everything. And suddenly, this intelligent, successful, quite wealthy woman that I had been had nothing. It was really confronting for my ego, like, how do I survive now? How am I going to support myself, right? And so when we're put into this position, suddenly, like, we're all level, because now we're all being faced with this awareness of our mortality and our equalness in that. Like, no one's greater, of course not. And so from that can come a greater empathy for those whom we might previously have judged, because that could be us. We recognize the other is us. It's wonderful. That's one of her beautiful gifts. Just going to hop through. So all those expectations and attachments that we have of, like, yes, I want to have the house, I want to have the riches, I've got this amazing job, I've got this amazing status, this is who I am in life. Once again, suddenly this this mantle of false security is being dismantled, taken away from us. And it's like, okay, without my status, who am I? Without my title in life, who am I? Without this income, who am I? It's really, there's like the two sides. There's the shadow and the light side. And we can choose where we want to go with this. But I'm seeing the gifts that Dhumavati is bringing to us when we can't control outcomes, right? It's it's beautiful. It's so perfect. So what happens when we let go, when we surrender into, I don't know, I can't control, I don't know what's coming next, I can't predict, I'm not the expert, I can't control my body, right? What happens when we let go? So anyone who's been gravely ill or is having illness right now, what can you do but surrender and let go? And perhaps, and this is one of the great gifts, another one of the great gifts is, like, if we resist, notice how that feels in your body to resist what's happening, to resist what's happening out there, to resist what's happening in your body. Does it make it easier or does it make it harder? What happens if you release the resistance and accept? you accept, you surrender, you are simply sitting with, and it can feel really fucking uncomfortable to sit with your fear, to sit with your inability to breathe, to sit with your fever, to sit with your fear. It can feel uncomfortable. What happens if you just let go and feel it and be with it? Here in her book, Sally Kempton quotes the Bhagavad Gita and talks about the peace that follows renunciation, and this requirement that we have in life. Actually, you know, there's a fear of death, but we're dying all the time. Our ego's dying all the time. We have to let go. I mean, how many dreams and desires have you ever had to let go of? I've had to give up so many desires and dreams that I've held in my heart for so long. And at some point, the recognition is the holding on keeps me suffering. The letting go releases that suffering. And there's a death in there. There's a death of desire. There's a death of a dream. There's a death of an attachment. There's a death of a certainty, and it can feel really unsettling to move into uncertainty, or it can be extremely liberating to surrender to the uncertainty and to surrender to the unknown and to just drop into that and find the emptiness and the stillness that is at the bottom of it. Stop clinging, stop holding on, like let go and go with the waves rather than fighting them. So let me just get to something that Uma Dinsmore-Tuli has to say about this. So, having clouded our vision with the smoke of suffering, Dhumavati's great power is to show us that these experiences can be welcomed as opportunities for spiritual growth and the expansion of wisdom. Yes. So yes, she's ugly, she's skeletally thin, but through suffering she brings awakening to our consciousness and a directional force to release her immense energy. So interestingly, she's the only goddess who's not in a pair, so she is consciousness and energy. She does not have a consort with her. One hand is in this mudra, the mudra of wisdom or meditation, right? Just going to show you the picture again. Notice her hand, her mudra, right? The other hand holds a winnowing basket. And so this winnowing basket, and this is really important, I think, teaches us discrimination through suffering to show us how to perceive what really matters in life. How to discard thoughts and beliefs which don't feed us. This is essential right now. We're going to have to winnow out what is true for us, what supports life, what supports life not just here in me but in everybody. We're going to have to winnow out all this noise around us, all these stories that we're hearing around us. What is true? What is real? Who am I really? Like, this is her gift, her power, her siddhi is the gift of vision that allows us to see clearly, even when there's darkness, even when there's shadow, because she's represented as darkness, shadow, and smoke. So what is going to feed us? What is going to kill us? And she also helps us to forget and take us back to the pre-creation experience of bliss, a time before our consciousness, and I'm quoting right now, became identified with names and forms, distractions and illusions. What's extraneous? What is the ultimate truth? What is the ultimate reality? So great wisdom, this Crone Goddess of disappointment, failure and letting go, freedom from attachment. What a beautiful blessing she brings to us right now. Her mantra, Dhum, or one of them anyway, Dhum, Dhum, Dhumavati Swaha. So you can chant that if you want to tune into her energy and ask for her blessings. So ask for the blessing of transformation through this situation now. Ask for her blessing of compassion for the elderly, for the sick, for the homeless. Ask for the humor and wisdom of the crone. Ask for the thought-free state of meditation. Ask for acceptance for whatever you are navigating and the freedom that comes with letting go. Dhum, Dhum, Dhumavati Swaha. Dum Dum Dhumavati Swaha. Dum Dum Dhumavati Swaha. Blessings. Thank you for watching, and see you next time on the other side. Much love. Bye for now.